All right. Good evening to everybody to this edition of Region Weather Live. I am Brad Warner. Um, Looking at a bit of a special edition here just because everybody seems to be asking and concerned about the storm that's coming through the area tonight and through tomorrow during the daytime. A lot of winds being involved here, a lot of travel plans being disrupted. People are trying to get in and out and all that fun stuff. So we're going to take a look at, we're going to break it all down for you. Just real quick, please, down below here, click the like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This really helps me out as far as getting more noticed and getting the word out to more people. Because the better off, the more people that watch this, the better off, just because I really hone in on just North Dakota and northern Minnesota. So I'm going to really break things down for you step by step. And we're going to take it hour by hour and walk through this slowly. And if anybody's got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask while we go through this. All right. What we are currently looking at right now is a composite of the radar. As the system moves in, we do see some snow moving in through northern parts of North Dakota, as well as kind of down in the south central, and then some snow out ahead of the main area out in along the Red River Valley, now just kind of crossing the river. We do have plenty of advisories and warnings out there. Don't be fooled by this little blank spot in here. That is a blizzard warning still. So anything shaded in this, I don't even know what you call this, tan color. I'm horrible at colors, so don't ask me. Whatever this color is here, that's a blizzard warning, and that's effective until from 6 a.m. Tomorrow morning, so Friday morning, until 6 p.m. in the evening. Other areas out in the green are both kind of a mix of wind chill advisories and winter weather advisories, more so winter weather advisory, just because the snow isn't quite as loose in these areas where they are green. The winds are still expected to be quite strong, but we're not expecting to see the visibilities drop quite as much or be quite as drastic in those areas. And then, of course, as you get further to the west, and you have these pink shaded areas. Oh, that didn't work out well at all. In through here, this is where we're going to be seeing the just a high wind warning in effect for these counties. So not really expecting any blowing snow, but just looking at just the possibility of high winds. And then as we get further out into the western parts of North Dakota, those are just wind advisories. So we're going to close this down and take a little bit closer look here at what the actual radar is showing. Now, this is the Minot radar. Plenty of, looks like some moderate snow in between Botno and Rolla, kind of in that Dunseith and Willow area. This is all pushing to the east, and I'll put that in motion. And fairly quickly, I might add, as this kind of figures out. I do have a slow computer, so if you ever, have watched this before, please just bear with me. I'm dealing with it the best I can, but there you can kind of see how things are moving from west to east in a fairly quick manner. It's a little bit deceiving on how quick this radar is looping, but the system is expected to move into western parts of Minnesota pretty early tonight. But right now you can see here's where we have the strongest band of snow in between that Botno-Rolla area. We're going to switch over to the Mayvale radar and just take a look here as to where some of that banding of snow is out ahead of this main area. Because I know we did have a little bit of stronger stuff. Yeah, kind of, there you go. Still kind of light, maybe light to moderate from Grand Forks right now going through Crookston, Beltrami, and Fertile. Again, this area kind of moving to the east, maybe a little bit in a northerly direction as well. So those of you out in Warren, Red Lake Falls, Fosston, Bagley, that snow is heading your direction, so you can expect winds to be decreasing here in the next several hours. All right. We're going to back over here. Here's that warm front. And what's basically setting off this snow in the eastern part of the state, the north central part of North Dakota. Back behind it, there is also a little bit of snow and maybe some rain or freezing rain as well. We'll take a look at that. But here's where that warm front is in that low pressure system that's going to be sagging on south, and then the cold front back behind it. That's eventually going to be dropping down to our region and really going to be setting off the winds later tonight into tomorrow morning. Here's the current air temperatures, a little better look. This is from our NDON station, the North Dakota Agricultural Weather Network. It's used out of the NDSU office or down there. It's been around for quite a while, but they've got some handy maps if you ever look at them. But you can basically see a lot of, low to mid 30s down in the southwest still. And then we're still sitting in the single digits off to the east and north. Everywhere in between, we're sitting in the teens to 20s in between that region. But we are seeing some precip down in the southwestern part of the state. And like I said, a little bit of rain, maybe some snow as well, but that'll eventually just turn all over to snow. Current roads, we're looking at scattered snow drifts right around that Stanley area, and then again in Rugby up through Botno, right where that heavier snow band is in between that Botno and Rolla area. And here's a look at the current conditions in Dunseith right along US 281 on mile marker 253. There you can see the snow falling and the snow accumulating on the roads. Visibility is starting to reduce already, really not looking too great. So obviously that's what's ahead of us further in the eastern parts of the state, northwestern Minnesota as well. And you can expect these conditions to deteriorate as we move along through the night. Current satellite, you can see that band of wall of snow kind of sliding down to the southeast that's associated with it, and then some cloudiness behind it, but generally we're just looking at some cloudy conditions through the overnight hours. All right, let's just jump right into this forecast, shall we? All right, again, you're going to have to be a little patient with me, especially here with the models. When I step through this, when I go through this step by step, it is a little laggy. So hopefully we can all make sense of this as we go through. But anyway, this is as of midnight. We're looking at that snow moving into northeastern parts of North Dakota, what isn't there already. So this is kind of that band that's in between that Dunseith and Rolla area. And so by this time, we're looking at getting into past Walhalla, getting into that Grafton-Pembina region. As we step forward, this is 3 a.m. And by this time, most of the snow is into Minnesota. Not a lot left in eastern parts of North Dakota. Although, as I said, the last few nights, don't be fooled. Probably still see some very light snow in this region still, just back behind the main, or just kind of actually right along, the warm front that's still pushing to the east. So even though most of the snow will be in northwestern Minnesota at that time, this again is at the 3 a.m. time frame. We're still looking at snow in the eastern parts of North Dakota within this time frame, taking place still. Winds at this point, and we'll move that along here to 3 a.m. Here's the southerly winds, and so you can see we're going to be gusting 30, 35 miles per hour out ahead of that. So this is right along that main band of snow. So you expect as this moves through, we're going to be seeing some gusty winds. We're already going to be dealing with reduced visibilities, even out ahead of this main batch of cold, very windy air that's going to be moving in or moving through. So expect visibilities to be on the decrease even as early as 3 a.m. in northwestern parts of Minnesota. Now down, as we get further out to the west, winds are already gusting, 40 to 45, maybe even 50 miles per hour just north of Minot. So those of you who don't really have snow down in the southwest, that's where we're starting to talk about that wind advisory. Some of you further north, if you have any snow by this time at 3 a.m., you can expect visibilities to be dropping, especially now that we've had that band of snow that's already moved through, and road conditions to start deteriorating already at 3 a.m. in north central North Dakota. Moving this along now. Here we are at 6 a.m. and look at the winds. 50, 51, 52, and these are predicted gusts. There are definite times when these are overdone and times when these are underdone. And I think this will be a time when it will be a little underdone. And I'll show you why in a bit. But just keep a note on that, where these winds are at this point. This is, again, as of 6 a.m. As we jump back to where our precip is, we note, most of it is now in, through central and eastern parts of Minnesota. That cold front is sitting right through here at that time. So the bulk of the wind is just along and out ahead and a little behind this cold front. And it's also, of course, because we do have plenty of cold air advection. There's a lot of cold air being dragged south with this. Very likely we're going to see some snow and maybe even some rain down in the southwest, but I would expect any area out ahead of this front, you're going to be seeing some snowfall. How much? Probably not a whole lot. As this front moves through, it's going to be very dry at this point. So if you pick up a half inch, that would be maybe about it, maybe an inch at the very, very most, but I think most areas are going to be a half inch or less as this cold front moves through. Temperature-wise, at that point, when we're looking at that 6 a.m. time frame, everybody's going to be below freezing. A lot of the areas out in the east actually overnight are going to try to warm up just because we do have that southerly winds, and it's going to be pushing warmer air into there. So as we get into the eastern parts of North Dakota, we're going to be sitting in a balmy 25 degrees. Meanwhile, you're going to be calling that cold 30 down in the southwest just because you're not used to it like we are out here. It was actually 0 degrees and sunny and hardly any wind today, and man, did it feel good. I would take that any day, but alas, that's not in the forecast for us at all. That cold front sags south. This is 9 a.m. And here it sits across southern parts of North Dakota. And the winds at that point, like I said, continue to dive down to the south. And here is 9 a.m. Like I said, more snow kind of in the south and then kind of back in through the east and northwestern parts of Minnesota. And then by noon, that pushes on further south. Additional snow probably expected kind of back in through very southern parts of North Dakota and then South Dakota and in through much of northeastern Minnesota as well. Again, this is as of the noon time frame. But the problem is here, we're still looking at these packed isobars, these lines here, these lines of constant pressure. When these get nice and tight, got high pressure over here, low over there, what's going to happen? Just like a balloon, everything's going to want to move off, in that general direction, plus some other effects that take place that I don't want to really, but essentially that's what's happening. We just have a high, concentration, a difference of pressure, so it's going to get windy. And why I say it could be even stronger than what that particular model was showing when it was showing 50 or so miles per hour. We're going to do a little more of a lesson here as to what I look at. And here's just a few thousand feet above the surface. And notice the winds, and they're all kind of heading in this direction. We're just going to kind of draw a line to sort of match these wind barbs. So wind barb kind of goes like this, and you have a barb like that. So that shows that the wind is coming from the northwest. So one of these barbs is 10, 20, 30, 40. If you've got one that looks like that, that's a 50. If you got a short one, that's 5. All right. So erase some of this here. So now take a note where these winds are sort of lining up. And I'm going to go up a few thousand more feet. And you can see at this particular time frame, these wind barbs are all kind of matching up. So what we call that in meteorology terms is coupling. These winds are coupled. If you have winds that are heading in this direction and another one in that direction, that creates a little bit of friction, right? Because they're heading in opposite or somewhat opposite directions. So that creates some friction. And so the winds aren't able to mix down. But when you have them lined up like this, that's showing that the winds are really have the potential to mix all the way down. And if like I talked about, if you have something, a wind barb that looks like that, that's 50 knots. And so we're talking, 55-mile-per-hour winds. And we have some that are showing, you know, a flag plus a little barb, that's 55 knots. So now we're looking at 60 miles per hour. And so as we take a look at this, some of these winds down in southeastern parts of North Dakota up through Devil's Lake, through Minot, down through that Carrington, Cooperstown, Ashley Wishick, Winter, down through Wahpeton. This is as of 9 a.m. Probably where some of the strongest winds will be, where we will be seeing the possibility of those 60 knots. However, don't let that fool you for the rest of the valley or really anybody in through this region. We're still looking at winds of at least 50 miles per hour, or at least I should say 40 miles per hour or greater, just because these winds are coupled even up in the far northern parts of the state. So windy conditions already starting. Like I said, this is as of the 9 a.m. time frame. Let's back up. Somebody asked me about something earlier, as early as 7. Here's the 6 o'clock time frame. And we're already showing wind gusts or winds at this level to 50 to 60 knots, 67 knots. Now, this time they're not quite perfectly coupled, so that'll slow down some, but still, we're definitely looking at windy conditions already at 6 a.m. Now, these wind gusts here, back up, it does this does show it kind of lagging a little bit in the valley. Oftentimes it doesn't move it in quick enough. It doesn't quite read it fast enough. So I really think by 6 a.m. we're going to be looking at gusts, 35 miles per hour or greater. Here we are at 9 and at noon. Still plenty of winds out there. Once we get into that 3 o'clock in the afternoon time frame, they do start to decrease a little bit. The winds do. We're going to take a look at those upper levels again, just to kind of show the correlation with that and how that moves along. But we are expecting the winds to decrease some by that 3 p.m. time frame. How much? Well, you're still going to be looking at gusts, over 30, 35 miles per hour, very likely. So even though they're decreasing, they're not going to be at 40 to 50 or even 60 miles per hour. 35 to 40, we're still going to be seeing very bad road conditions, bad visibility, probably blizzard conditions still in some areas as of 3 p.m. Once we get into that 6 p.m. time frame, still looking at that 30 to 40 range. Maybe the gusts are decreased a little bit in some areas. But the other problem is just how fast are these road conditions going to be able to improve? Just because the winds are going to be decreasing and maybe the visibilities will come up a little bit to half mile. We're still looking at road closures. We're looking at drifts across the road. How fast the DOT can get through some of these areas. That's a part of this equation that I can't answer. I just don't know how quick they're going to run through this. Maybe some areas off in the northwest or north central part of the state, if they have any problems up there, I would guess by 6 p.m. They're going to be out there and they're going to be clearing things out. And I would think west of Devil's Lake, most areas are going to be pretty well improved by that 6 p.m. time frame. But once you get to Devil's Lake on east, I think all bets are still going to be off as of 6 p.m. 9 p.m. again, still just decreasing winds. Click through here, you can see by this point, this is 9 p.m. and midnight. That high pressure system has now moved into the area. Skies are going to be clearing out. Winds are going to be starting to lightening up through the central parts, and now even by this time, somewhat into parts of North Dakota as well. Again, this is around midnight Friday night. So by this point, things are going to be getting better. How quick will they move on the roads? I don't know. Here comes some more wind because we're going to try to warm up a little bit on Saturday out ahead of another system. And so these are going to be southerly winds at this point. We're going to take a look at the temperatures here, and you can see a little bit warmer air here, and that's going to kind of try to make its way to the east and north. But we do have southerly winds. That's a horrible arrow. Oh my God. Sorry about that. Um, I can't draw. I was never very good at art. Thankfully, my daughters are, but I'm horrible at it. But anyway, I digress. By this point, this is 9 a.m. and that's starting to reach into the valley once again, but is already in through western and central parts of North Dakota. So again, anybody who's got snow in the north, you're going to be seeing some blowing for sure, or some drifting for sure, maybe some blowing. And then as you get further east, probably some drifting at this point. And then this is noon once again. Winds picking up some more, and according to this model, now you're looking at 30, maybe 40 miles per hour out of the south. Kind of dog this, yeah. I would say. Let me take a look at upper level wind. I believe I remember seeing some stronger winds in the valley that are somewhat connected. South winds at the surface, a few thousand feet up. 45 knots, so about 50 miles per hour, not quite coupled. So, we'll call it in that 30 to 40 mile per hour range. So, again, um, east of kind of that Devil's Lake to Jamestown area by noontime, probably going to be blowing some snow around again. So if you've got any travel plans, get out there early. Get out there early Saturday morning because later in the morning, it looks like it's going to deteriorate. It does try to warm it up, thankfully. Try to warm it up. Try and warm it up with 40 mile per hour winds. That's always great. Oh, I'm sick of winter. And let's see, surface wise, 3 p.m. Plenty of warm air down in the southwest. We're looking at 50 degrees once again. In a lot of these areas that don't have snow, 35 possible up in Williston, right around Minot, right around freezing. Bismarck, you're probably going to be close to that 40-degree mark. So not really a bad day. I mean, really, once you get up to those type of temperatures, you'll take a little bit of wind, even if it's gusting 30 to maybe 40. I guess I would take it. So please, all you people over in Bismarck, don't complain. Have the wind that we're going to get over here. Really not expecting anything for precip at that point. Here we are at 6 p.m. on Saturday. Starting to see some snow starting to slide south. We'll move this along a little bit. Still a little bit windy here as of 6 p.m. Boy, it's going gusts back into the 50s in northwestern parts of Minnesota. Look at the upper air again, kind of validate that. Yeah, I don't know if it'd be 50, but I'd definitely say there's some 40 mile per hour winds possible. Boy, I've had a lot of people say they're going up to War Road, Roseau. Not looking real great for travel even on Sunday up through there. And I think by noon up in those areas, you're going to be seeing bad conditions and you're going to be seeing blowing and drift. So for all of you that are going up in that direction, it's not even looking great on Saturday. And if you've got any traveling out in the eastern part of North Dakota, northwestern Minnesota, like I said, get it done early if those roads are open. But other than that, I think it looks like it's going to be good again. By midnight, some of those winds do die off. And sorry if I'm taking this a little slow, but I really want to kind of emphasize everything that's going on. It seems like a lot of people have got some traveling going on. So I'm really kind of taking this step by step as much as I can. So hopefully this is all making sense. But this is Monday, Saturday night into Sunday morning. Again, winds kind of starting to die off here in Minnesota. picking up again out in the western parts of North Dakota, out ahead of this next system that's expected to move into the region midnight, but still warm, still 37, still some pretty comfortable conditions as of midnight Saturday night out west. Once we get into that 6 a.m. time frame on Sunday, here comes the next cold front and the next little bout of precip, the next little bout of winds, and the next big shot of cold air that's going sitting over the entire region for the remainder of at least the early part of this coming week and last into a good portion of next week. Actually, we'll kind of dive into that here as we move along. But by this point, again, we're looking at the 6 a.m. time frame on Sunday. Winds still not very strong. Gust 20 to maybe gust to 20 or 25, so maybe a little bit of drifting here and there. Noon time on Sunday, that cold air, even though it's we don't have a lot of windy conditions, not a lot of gusts just yet at this point. That cold air is starting to sag south. So those of you down in the southwestern parts of the state, enjoy your temperatures as of noon on Sunday, because going to be for a shock. Here is maybe the bad news of all this. Even though it's not going to be windy, we still have to deal with some precipitation. Models, not only this one, but a few other ones have been consistent on showing a mixed bag, the dreaded mixed bag, as Tom Szymanski would say, the dreaded mixed bag of precip out ahead of this, kind of right along and ahead of that front. So while things are trying to warm up ahead of it, and then all of a sudden this cold front drops south, it does try to bring in some rain and some freezing rain and some sleet out ahead of it. Now this is, we're looking at this Saturday night time frame. Now the Sunday morning. Well, let me back that up. I guess I kind of lost track of the precip here. We weren't really dealing with the winds, but I guess what we should be focusing on here as of midnight, Saturday night, Sunday, is the snow and the possibility, at least, of some freezing rain moving into the north. It does show rain with this. Boy, I don't know. I don't think we're going to warm up anywhere to see rain. So I'd be a little skeptical with this. But it does look like potential freezing rain and sleet is more what we're going to be looking out for. This is Saturday night, 9 p.m. This is midnight. And you can see now across much of the north, anywhere from the Canadian border down through Williston, Minot, kind of right along that Highway 2 area, the Highway 2 corridor north. Could see some freezing precip out ahead of the snow. Again, this is midnight Saturday night, 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. Sunday morning. Transitions more over to snow, still mostly along and north of Highway 2, maybe more north of Highway 200, but still the potential of some freezing rain just out ahead of that. And then as that front continues to sag south, everything just kind of turns more over to snow. And then this big high pressure system that is up in here really kind of pushes things south and really just slams the door on any kind of warm air and really holds it there for a while. Some snow possible off in the northwestern part of North Dakota. Going to be very dry, so not really expecting a whole lot for accumulation there. This is as of 3 p.m. on Sunday, 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. on Sunday. And then we're getting into the overnight hours Sunday night and into early Monday morning. You can see where some of the snow really starts to set up. If you recall, if you've looked at any of my videos, the very early on, it looked like maybe more of the snow or the heavier snow initially wanted to be kind of in southern parts of North Dakota. And I said, I really think this is going to sag south. Sure enough, these models are starting to push this snow a little bit further south. So good and bad, as I've said. You guys, some of you could use the moisture, but I don't know if you really want to deal with snow. Maybe you do, just to get any kind of moisture out there, especially down in the southwest. But it does look like this high is really going to be dominant here and push this moisture down the south. Again, this is as of Monday morning at 6 a.m. We'll take a look at the winds here and the cold air that drops on south. Here it is Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Mind you, by this time, everything's now turned over to snow. We can back up. We can back up to that midnight time frame where I said, they are showing some rain in through here Saturday night in through early Sunday morning. I don't know if we're going to get that warm. I really think it's mostly going to be freezing rain and or sleet that far north, especially with all the snow that we've got. And overnight, I don't see that happening. So I think we're going to be dealing with some sort of icy conditions Saturday night into early Sunday morning. By this time, 6 a.m. on Sunday, most everywhere other than the Southwest is below freezing, and those temperatures just keep on pushing south. And then as we get into Monday morning at 6 a.m., everybody's 10 below. Let's take a look at the wind chill just because I'm kind of curious about that, what we're looking at for wind chills all over the place on Monday morning. As I click on my handy dandy map here, wind chills minus 25 to almost minus 40 up in northeast parts of North Dakota. Anybody want to send me on vacation, please? I really could use it. Sick of canceling everything and canceling basketball games, and just I'm tired of the cold weather. It's been a long time since I've said that, but it's tiring. Winds Sunday night into Monday morning, increasing down in the south as that high pressure really settles in. So if there is going to be any snow down in the south, I would expect conditions to deteriorate kind of 94 and southward as of Monday morning. Any kind of snow that's out there, just because that high pressure really is packing in those isobars once again. Remember, high pressure moving to low pressure. The bigger that difference, the windier it's going to be, and that's kind of what's setting up here for Monday morning. So those of you down in the south, especially down in the southern parts of North Dakota, the travel conditions might be a little tricky down there at that point through the day on Monday. So just something to be aware of. We'll take a look at that through the weekend and see how that continues to develop. Here you can see where this short range model kind of is predicting most of the snow. Now you're seeing anywhere from 1 to 5 inches up through northern parts of Minnesota. Now, mind you, we do have a couple of shots of snow. This one that's moving through tonight and into tomorrow is expected to drop 1 to 3 inches, and then this next system that's coming through on Sunday might drop, bring another 1 to 2 inches there. So it's not all going to be 6 inches if it does get that much. I don't think it'll be quite that much, but a few inches here and a few inches there, and then you add the wind on top of this, and it doesn't take much. So we already got snow on the ground that's going to be blowing around. So now for most areas, we're going to be adding at least an inch or 3 to much of the region. Here's this next little batch that comes on south on Sunday, out ahead with that freezing rain and sleet, possibly bringing 1 to 3 inches. I don't think. Yeah, I think 4 is going to be really pushing it. We'll go 1 to 3 mostly. Those areas probably in that 1 to 2 range. And then here's where this particular model really starts to set up that next storm on Sunday in northern parts of South Dakota. Probably a little overdone. That looks pretty strong for just a few hours of snow. Where that'll set up, I think we're getting closer. I think that might even be a little bit further south. We'll see. Just because that high just seems to be so dominant, I think that it's going to dry the air out more, and it's going to push some of that even further south. And I think actually, even in these areas, we're not going to be seeing that much snow. I think essentially what's going to happen is it's just going to hold in more drier air and not allow it to snow that much. So we'll see, but I that's typically what happens. Here is a longer range model, and we're going to again just kind of take this slow here. This is as of 6 a.m. time frame, and there's that high pressure system holding everything's down to the south, holding that snow through South Dakota. That's the blue there is the snow. And as we step through this, it just kind of continues on in through the day on Sunday, or Monday rather, and in through the night, Monday night, and into Tuesday morning. And this low finally starts to eject out. So those of you down in the southern parts of Minnesota might actually pick up a fair amount of snow with this, just because it will be snowing for a fair, a long extended period of time. Um, so that would be something to possibly be concerned about. But as for the rest of the region, boy, that high pressure settles in. Here we are Tuesday evening, and it's going to be cold. It's going to be clear and cold. Not a lot of wind, but not a lot of precip either. And that just kind of holds there. It holds there at least. It starts to move out a little bit on Thursday night and into Friday. And at that point, winds do start to pick up a little bit, and finally, it does warm up some. This model brings through another little clipper system. Looks pretty dry. That really wasn't showing up before, so we'll see if that continues to hold that low pressure through. This would be Saturday into Sunday, and then more high pressure settles in. So, well, we're not going to warm up a whole lot. It's going to be a cold week um, once this system kind of passes through, and that high pressure just kind of dominates. So it's going to be cold. It's going to be sunny. At least it's not going to snow. I guess I'll take that. So I just said 0 degrees and sunny and no wind. Yeah, I'll take that over here, I guess, if that's what I have to do. Here's the long range model where it's showing the snowfall. This is a little more what I was thinking, kind of in through that central part of South Dakota. And they're painting anywhere from 6 to 9 inches through South Dakota and through southern parts of Minnesota. We'll see if that happens. I think that's, again, might be a little high, but um, uh, we'll kind of play it as the weekend comes along here, and once that Saturday night Sunday time frame comes, we'll have a lot better idea as to how much snow is going to fall throughout the region here. As you can see, through the long range, not a whole lot of precip or not a whole lot of snow that falls across North Dakota and northern Minnesota from now until essentially next weekend. So yeah, there you have it. Um, not not good conditions, folks, tonight. Trying to remember, somebody asked me about getting into Minneapolis. Oh, Cleo, when was that? Um, sorry, folks, if I can find this. Sunday morning. Sunday morning. Flying back. Minneapolis, I think. I think you'll get into Minneapolis. That's right. We're going to be dealing with, yeah, I think you will. Because you're going into Bismarck, Leo. So, um, from off of Minneapolis. So I think you'll be fine getting into Bismarck at that point. At least you're not flying into Grand Forks or Fargo or anywhere like that on Sunday. I generally think you'll be okay. It's just those of us who have snow um, further east of you, um, that's where the problem is going to be on Sunday. Sunday, right? Oh, come on. Not gonna be Sunday. Sunday? Sunday. Let's look at Sunday. Get your day straight, Brad. Ah, right, that's snow. I think Minneapolis will be okay. Um, that cold front does move through Bismarck area by noon or so. So it just depends on what time you get in there. But as long as there's no freezing precip, I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be fine to get into Bismarck on Sunday. Um, there's some snow after that noon time frame, and then the winds kind of do want to pick up. So if you get into that Bismarck region before noon on Sunday, I think you've got a decent chance. Once you get to that 3 p.m. time frame and after, winds are going to pick up, possibly some snow. Um, all bets are going to be off there. Hey, folks, that's why it pays to do this online or ask me questions ahead of time, just because then um, I can answer your questions as we do this right now, live, right as we're doing this. We're answering questions. So, all right, there you have it, folks. It was a bit of a long one tonight. Had a lot to talk about. Once again, please subscribe and like and all that fun stuff. We will be back on. I'm going to try and be back on in the morning, and just because I'm going to be curious as to how things are looking. So tune in the morning, and we'll see how road conditions. We'll take a look at um, some of the cameras out there, and we'll see what's progressing. So appreciate you all